The night my security system pinged with an alert, I was sprawled on my brother Marcus's couch, a slice of pizza in hand, the NBA playoffs blaring on the TV. I'm Nathan Carter, a 38-year-old software architect, and my sleek single-story home at 47 Crestwood Lane and Crestwood Heights was my haven after grinding out code for a biotech startup. That Tuesday in April, I'd left my house in the hands of my plumber, Greg, who was shutting off my water for 2 days to fix corroded pipes under the foundation. No big deal. I'd crash at Marcus's downtown loft until it was done. I'd set my motion sensors, locked up, and driven off in my Tesla, thinking everything was under control. Then at 9:30 p.m., my phone buzz. Motion detected at my front door. I opened the app and my jaw dropped. There on my porch was my neighbor, Linda Matthews, in nothing but a towel, her peroxide blonde hair dripping wet, pounding on my door like she was auditioning for a horror flick. "Nathan, open this door. I know you're home. What did you do to the water? Turn it back on." Her voice was so shrill it crackled through my phone speaker. Marcus peeked over my shoulder. "Is that your HOA lady in a towel?" I grabbed my keys. Something's seriously wrong. I got to get over there before she breaks my door down. Marcus was already lacing up his sneakers. "I'm not missing this." Linda had moved in 6 months after I bought my house 3 years ago. A woman in her early 60s, she wore her hair in a gravity-daying updo and had clawed her way onto the Crestwood Heights HOA board within weeks. From the start, she'd rubbed me the wrong way, dropping backhanded compliments about how surprising it was that I could afford the neighborhood or asking if I was some kind of athlete. When I said I designed software, her smile never reached her eyes like she couldn't compute it. I kept my yard pristine to avoid HOA fines, but Linda always found something to nitpick me. Trash cans visible from the street. They weren't a diseased tree, it was fine. Or legal guest parking she deemed suspicious. I stayed polite but distant, dodging her as best I could. Marcus had warned me about HOAs. "You're paying fees to be harassed in your own home," he'd said that night, shaking his head. I shrugged it off, defending the neighborhood's upkeep and property values. But as we sped toward my house, Linda's scream still echoing through my security app. I knew this was no ordinary neighbor spat. We pulled into my driveway in 15 minutes, Marcus flooring it. Linda was still there, hammering my door with fists that shouldn't have that much force. "I'm on the HOA board. This is harassment," she shrieked, her towel slipping slightly. As a black man in a ritzy suburb, I'd learned to keep my cool and tense moment. It wasn't just smart, it was survival. "Linda," I called, voice steady as we approached. "What's the problem?" She spun around, clutching her towel, suds still clinging to her hairline. "You," she spat, pointing like I committed a felony. "What did you do to the water?" "Turn it back on." I kept my distance. "My water's off for plumbing repairs. Scheduled work." Her eyes blazed. "You can't shut off water without HOA approval." I was in the shower. I frowned. "Why would my water affect your shower?" A flicker crossed her face. Panic quickly masked by rage. "The whole street's out," she stammered. The pressure just stopped. I stepped closer, voice calm but sharp. "That's odd because the utility company only cut my house. No one else's." Her eyes darted away, her phone trembling in her hand. "Who are you calling, Linda?" I asked, dread pooling in my gut. "The police," she declared. "You're harassing me, cutting off my water. This is discrimination." Marcus let out a bark of laughter. "You're on his porch, half naked, screaming, and you're calling the cops." I raised a hand to hush him, pulling out my phone to record. "Linda, you're saying your water stopped when mine did? That's impossible unless your house is tied to my water line." Her face froze. "That's ridiculous. The HOA would never." She was unraveling. Then she spoke into her phone. "Yes, 911. I need police at 47 Crestwood Lane. My neighbor's cut off my utilities and is threatening me." I held up my phone. "I'm recording Linda. The police can see who's on whose property." Her lips curled. "You can't record me. Invasion of privacy. You're on my land." "Making false claims," I shot back. Sirens wailed in the distance. Linda straightened. "Smoke. We'll see what the cops say." The security footage I pulled up while waiting showed Linda trying to sneak into my backyard to access the water valve. Stopped by a locked gate. 2 patrol cars rolled up, officers Daniels and Lopez stepping out, eyeing the scene. Me and Marcus, calm, and Linda, towel-clad and furious. "What's going on?" Lopez asked. Linda launched in. "This man cut off my water to harass me. I'm on the HOA board and he's targeting me." Daniels turned to me. "Sir, I explained the scheduled plumbing work, then dropped the bombshell. Somehow my water shutoff stopped her water, which suggests her house is illegally hooked to my line. I played the footage of her backyard attempt and the audio where she dodged my questions." Linda exploded. "He knew I needed water and did this to humiliate me. It's a hate crime." Lopez raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, are you saying your neighbor has to supply your water without a utility account?" Linda's face reened. "The HOA has an arrangement. It's been this way forever. They're at wash or slip." Daniels pressed. "What arrangement?" Linda clutched her towel and backed off. "I need to get dressed." Lopez blocked her. "We need answers first," but she bolted across my lawn to her house. Marcus muttered. "She's running." I smirked. "I've got her on tape." The next morning at Marcus' place, I called the water utility. After 3 transfers, a rep named Carla confirmed my suspicions. "Your water usage is double what a single occupant should have. There's no account for 49 Crestwood Lane. Their last one closed 3 years ago with a note about an HOA utility arrangement." My pulse spiked. "When was it closed?" 3 months before you bought your house," she said. "I filed a complaint and requested my billing history. Then I called Greg, who'd found an unauthorized pipe diverting water to Linda's house. It's professional, not up the code," he said. "I've got photos and a write-up." I grinned. "You're a lifesaver." Marcus, flipping pancakes, shook his head. "She's been stealing your water for 3 years and the HOA set it up. What else are they hiding?" Back home, I spotted Linda peeking through her blinds. She ducked when she saw me. I pored over my HOA papers, finding nothing about shared utilities, only rules against tampering. My closing documents confirmed my house had separate connections. At noon, my doorbell rang. It was Walter Green, the HOA president, a 70-something retiree with a perpetually sour expression. "Nathan, about last night's commotion." He began too polite. I invited him in, my documents ready. "I'm not confused, Walter. Linda's house is hooked to my water line, and I've been paying her bills for 3 years. He shifted. "It's a historical arrangement. The previous owner allowed it, and we kept it." I leaned in. "An arrangement never disclosed to me, costing me thousands and breaking city codes. Was this offered to other homeowners or just Linda?" His silence spoke volumes. "I've calculated $3,800 in excess charges," I said, sliding over my files. "I want reimbursement, the illegal line cut, and an HOA admission." This was wrong. "Or I'm calling the city inspector, utility fraud, and my lawyer." Walter stood flustered. "You're overreacting, am I?" I asked voice. "I see. Or is there another reason I'm expected to pay for her water?" He left without a word. By Thursday, Greg finished my repairs and severed Linda's line. He showed me the T-junction diverting my water installed 5 years ago, not part of my house's original plumbing. "Sophisticated," he said, handing me a detailed report. That afternoon, Detective Harris called. "We've got a warrant to inspect Linda's property based on your evidence. Be there in an hour." I agreed, and Marcus joined me. Neighbors gathered, pretending not to stare, as police and a utility inspector approached Linda's door. No answer. After protocol, they rammed it open, drawing gasps. Inside, they found Linda barricaded in her bathroom, surrounded by pots, buckets, and a filled bathtub hoarding water. "This is HOA business," she screamed, refusing to open the door, threatening to call City Hall. They coaxed her out, finding her clutching her phone, ranting about persecution. The inspector confirmed the illegal connection in her basement, professionally done, but unpermitted. Linda was cuffed, still in a bathrobe, and lost it when she saw me. "This is your fault," she shrieked. "You people always want special treatment. This was my neighborhood first." Harris silenced her. "That's enough." As they led her to the cruiser, she ranted. "I kept this place respectable for 15 years. Then they let anyone with money move in. Neighbors filmed and I stood tall, aware of every eye on me. Harris apologized, requesting a statement downtown. Linda's charged with utility theft, false police report, and possibly more after we check HOA finances. Neighbors swarmed me. "How long was she stealing?" asked Susan from across the street. "Since before I moved in, I said an HOA deal." Walter's wife Ellen approached, mortified. Walter never told me. "I'm so sorry." I nodded, unconvinced. The conspiracy's depth was unclear. Marcus chuckled as we walked inside. "Suburban drama, man, stealing your water, then crying victim." I laughed, but the weight lingered. The next week, the utility sent a $4,750 refund and a note about investigating similar setups in Crestwood Heights. That evening, Maria Lopez, a neighbor from the HOA's design committee, showed up with a folder of records highlighted expenses for fake community water infrastructure, selective fees for new homeowners, and fee waivers for board members. "Patricia's not alone," Maria said. 3 other board members have deals, discounted fees, private use of funds." I stayed quiet too long. She turned after an HOA meeting where Walter planned to silence me with a settlement and NDA. I scanned the files and sent them to my lawyer who'd filed against the HOA. Neighbors began sharing their own stories of unfair fines and selective rules. By Wednesday, Channel 5 ambushed me post-run. "Did you uncover HOA discrimination?" the reporter asked. "I found an illegal water connection costing me thousands." "Part of a pattern favoring certain members," I said. "Was it racial?" she pressed. I was expected to pay without question. "Why?" asked the HOA. Walter resigned that day, citing health issues, followed by 2 board members. A Saturday AOE meeting drew over 100 residents. Interim Chair David Park, a quiet professor, invited city and utility reps. We learned of misused funds, selective rule enforcement, and higher fees for minorities and young families. I spoke briefly. "I moved here for a fair community. I pay my dues, follow rules, and expect the same from everyone." The crowd cheered. Linda's house went up for Celeste to move to Florida, awaiting trial for utility theft, false reporting, and fund misappropriation. Her plea deal meant community service and restitution. The new HOA board with David as president, Maria as treasurer, and me as outreach coordinator reflected our diversity. The utilities probe found similar schemes citywide, sparking an HOA audit. At a barbecue I hosted months later. Neighbors laughed, kids played, and David shared news of a community garden I proposed. Susan's husband Carl noted rising property values since the HOA's overhaul. David whispered about Linda's house failing inspection, unpermitted renovations, faulty wiring, and illegal rental. "Hypocrisy," Carl said. I grinned. A text from Harris said Linda's plea for fewer service hours was denied 500 hours now. I pocketed my phone, watching my new neighbors, a young couple who'd bought Linda's house, join the party. Maria introduced me to a prospective buyer, Aisha Thompson, who'd heard of the water thief saga. "This place has changed," I told her, gesturing at the crowd. We faced the truth head on. As Marcus flipped burgers, he toasted to clear waters. Linda thought she could siphon my water and my dignity, but she'd unleashed a flood of truth, washing away her power and building a real community. Crestwood Heights wasn't just my home. No, it was ours.